Hey guys, you're watching One and Ali. My name is AJ. Welcome back to an episode of Let's Build a Theme Park. And today we're going to be thinking about a new, somewhat large project, I think. We've finished off our only really big project that we had on the world a couple of episodes ago by completing at least the exterior of the hotel. And I want to do another one. And this one has been asked for probably nearly 100 episodes. And I've been trying to think about how it would be, how it would work, how I would want to do it, and when we've got time to do it, obviously. So it's going to be a prison roller coaster. Now, I bet a lot of you have just put a big smile on some of your faces because I know it's been asked for multiple times. And we're going to start it today, but there's some things that we sort of need to think about. It has to be surrounded in water. That was like one of the big points that you guys wanted. Was a Alcatraz almost. You know, Alcatraz is a prison that's on that island. It's not in use anymore. It's not a prison anymore. I think it's actually a hotel, to be honest now. But it was known to be the escape-proof prison. Nobody could escape from it because it was on an island and the sea was very rough around those areas. Apparently like 3 people did escape all in one go. I don't think they're quite sure if they actually did survive or not, but they definitely escaped off the island. So we're going to try and do something like that here in our theme park, but it's going to be a roller coaster, so it's going to sort of travel through different cells and outside into the yard. But if it's going to be surrounded in water, then obviously I would really like it to be joined up to our river here. In fact, if we get the map up, you can see that there's a few spots that could be possible. I don't want to go into this third. If I go into that third, it means I'm going to want to start filling that bit out more. And I'd rather fill out this section first and get that all full and use that as an expansion. Over here, if we done it there, it's going to mean that we're going to have 3 roller coasters right next to each other. So that's not a great spot. And then all the way down there, if we done it on the Jurassic Park side of the island over there, it means it's going to be right next to the ginormous Sea Life Centre building. And having 2 large buildings like that right near each other, I don't think it's going to look that good. This area is meant to be the farm area, but we've still got a lot of expansion space to go. I mean, we've got the other side of the road there. If we want to expand out, yeah, it should fit in. If we want to expand out to have some more farmyard rides, we could go the other side of the road. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to make this path turn down and then run along the tree line and then come back out again and join back up to here, leaving in the middle here a space for us to expand our river out, which wouldn't take long, and then put the prison on top. I'm not going to worry about the path or the river today, though. I can always do that off camera, but today we're going to sort of think about how high we want the prison off the ground and hopefully get a little bit of a blueprint in on how we want this to go. However, we are going to have to sort of think about the maximum size. Let's get some blue blocks just so they stand out. The maximum size for the island. The path's got to run down here. In fact, let's get some white ones as well. Just a little bit of planning is going to be involved before we do this. Otherwise, it's going to be very, very tricky. So, the path will probably run up somewhere here-ish. Just rough. We're not really thinking too much about it. Up to there. And then it'll run down this way somewhere. Like this. I always run into the block. There. Oops, not that far. Yeah, and then run down here as well. Okay, so then the path will join back up on the outside of these blocks. In the middle here can now all be water. This area in the middle is all going to be water. Obviously, we want a little bit of water surrounding each side. So I think now if we get an emerald block, this is green to signify land. That much water I think is acceptable. And then down here we'll sort of make it round. Is that enough water? Ish. That's like the maximum level I want to go. And then it comes back this way again. And then we sort of make a little circle here for roughly our island. Again, this is a very, very, very rough sketch, but our island can be in the middle there with our prison on top, and I think that's a pretty nice size. It's not going to be too big, but it's not going to be pointlessly small. Now, how many blocks off the ground do we want the ground to be? That makes no sense, but how much off this ground do we want the actual prison to be? Obviously, we want a little bit of a rock face around the edge, maybe a little sandy area, like not a beach area on a prison, but you guys know what I mean, like a little sandy-ish area. Maybe that would be 5 blocks tall, and then, yeah, with a little bit of terraforming, that would be good, I think. So, smash myself again. Take these away. And then this is roughly going to be our height of our island. Obviously, we can make sections go bigger, and we can make sections go smaller. Or higher and lower, sorry. Higher and lower, not bigger and smaller. Higher and lower, depending on what part of the island we want to have, a little bit lower. Maybe like a docking area for boats. It can be a little bit lower. But that's a pretty good height, I think, for it. And let's go as wide as we possibly can and try and get the shape of our prison in here. So, about that is sort of the maximum width of the building now. Let's grab some stone. Obviously, it's going to be built out of stone. It's going to be a nice grey, dull-looking prison. Alcatraz, well, a prison in general, any prison, isn't really going to be the most beautifully coloured building in the world. It's not really designed with that purpose in mind. I'm just placing out some blocks here. I don't know how long this is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 blocks, I think. I don't know if I miscounted there. Doesn't really matter. You guys can make it whatever shape and size you want. But I'm going to go a little bit longer. And what we want to do is we want to try and get a bit of a unique shape for this prison. I don't want it to be a boring box-shaped prison. I hate square buildings. They always look terrible. So if we make this at least somewhat more interesting in shape-wise, it's going to make the roof difficult, or at least harder. Maybe not difficult, but it makes it harder, but it's also going to make the building itself look better. We'll have this mirrored with that side. Splash me. And then come down here. Where are we? We're there. Is that a good shape, or do I want to cut a little bit out of that corner as well? No, I think that's a pretty cool shape for a prison. The entrance into the prison would be about there. That's perfect. It's a nice odd number with 3 blocks on either side. That worked out spiffingly. Okay, that looks pretty cool. Now, as far as the rest of the prison goes, well, I don't know what order I want to do things in. Let's get a skeleton first. Let's get a skeleton of this prison. So we want for the height. I think if we do a 2-story prison, it won't look too grossly big and overwhelming. That's the last thing we want to do. So we don't want to have windows right up against the edge. Just sort of a Minecraft rule, isn't it? And if these are cells, we don't want windows on that level, because the floor, let's just use any block for the floor for the moment. If this was the level of the floor, which is the same level as the grass that we've already placed down, if this was your prison cell, you wouldn't want a window, or you would want a window at this height so you can see out of it. But prisons don't do that. Prisons have the windows higher up, so you can't really see out of them. You don't get any view, but they just let light and air in, and at least give their prisoners some sort of hospitable living arrangement. Maybe 2 wide or 1 wide. 1 wide. 2 wide would look better for Minecraft, so I think I'm going to do that. And then we'll have 3 blocks in the middle, because a cell, if we done cells here, the cell would be down there. That makes a nice, like, 4x4 cell, maybe. That's a pretty cool idea. And then we'd have another cell in. 3 blocks. And then another cell in there. And then that can just be, well, I suppose we could have like no. If we move all these over by 1, what happens? That gives us 3 on that. That mirrors it out. Wonderful. Okay, so then the ceiling to the cell would be on the level that we've done. This would be the floor to the next level. This would be the wall to the next level, leaving us the window height in the middle there where that gap is. We're just doing a skeleton here. We won't be doing all the walls like this episode. But that gives us that. Then the ceiling, and then we'll do maybe one more. We'll use a different block just to try and give us an idea. Does this look a lot different? Not really. I'm going to use not silverfish. I'm going to use stone bricks for up here. Should we use stone bricks for the main building? I think so. I think this should all be replaced with stone brick. Ooh, oh no. I accidentally done something there. If we do it instead like this, oops, on the corners, it's going to give a really cool effect. Is that silverfish? No. Whew, I thought for a minute it was going to be a silverfish cobblestone block. If we done it like this, it just gives a really cool, interesting corner. And then that can go there and there. Imagine that on every corner. It's just going to really make it pop and stand out. And then this can just run along the top. Once we get the height in, we can easily, very quickly even, do the skeleton of the rest of the building. Then I do want to use a different block. Oh, yeah, grey clay or something like that. Just to make it the roof not be quite as flat to the walls. So it'd be something like this and wrap around the side. That looks pretty cool. And then maybe we'd have some cobblestone walls or something like that, just to even the how would you say, even the breakout. Whoops. Oh, hold on. That one and that one. It just smooths the wall out to the roof. It's not quite as urgent. Then you see that one won't be there because there'll be cobblestone wall there, and nor would that one, because these will be down the side, won't they? Like that, like that, like that. I think that's a pretty cool design. It's something that we can grow upon very easily. But yeah, that would be a sort of what the walls would look like going around the side, obviously with iron bars in the middle. So now we've got that in, we can quickly run round a very fast blueprint here. Let's get cobblestone back. Splash, just in case it runs out. So we'll have that going up there. This one. It'll just give us a rough idea on how big the overall prison is going to look. Do I want a section that isn't 2 stories high? I think so. I think that would look better. Like maybe if we had all of that area not 2 stories. Or just this end bit not 2 stories. Like here. I think that would look better. So we'll have that running down here. That one running down this way. This way to the end. Perfect. Oops. And then this joins up to here. And then we would have that going up there. This would only be the 1 story high. So it would be on roughly that level. We're not 100% sure if we done. Let's do a cell arrangement here. I just replace that. And that. That one, that one, that one. And then we would have these down here. Get this higher. It's definitely, planning out a building is very important. If you don't plan it out at this stage, you're going to end up not quite knowing what you want to do with certain parts of the building. So this goes up here, and then we have the grey goes along here, wraps around the side, and then we continue with our uniform design of the cobblestone walls there. It's just nice, and it's lower than the other part, and it's going to really make it look decent, having different heights. So that comes down here, comes that way, and then that joins up like that. So we have now got a skeleton of the shape of our building. But obviously, just having a prison building isn't going to be sufficient enough. 1, for me to be happy with the build, but 2, to work as a prison. We're going to need some towers. Now I'm going to go with 2 towers. I'm going to go with 1 tower on this side and 1 tower on that side. So let's just get some grass back, just so it at least saves us a little bit of time later on when I have to terraform this entire island. Splash me. Down this way. Down this way. Let's go like right to the corner where we could possibly have a corner. I think that's pretty good. If anything, that might be a little bit too big. No, I did like that. Obviously, we don't want this island to be so small that it looks poxy and pointless, but we don't want it to end up being so big, because at the end of the day, right at the end of the day, it's just a roller coaster. There's nothing more to it. It is just a roller coaster. That's the only reason why we're building it. Okay, and then so this is going to be a simple design for their watchtower. Just like a 4x4 square going up. This will then go into a watch area style top. Maybe with some slabs as a flooring or something like that. And then maybe cobblestone walls or something would be going up to the top. And then would have a brown, maybe not brown clay, or maybe brown clay or wood. Maybe like a dark oak. Something like that. Like a dark oak roof on the top here. I don't know if I'm going to do stairs or full blocks or slabs, or not quite sure yet. But that would be the height of the watchtower. Is that tall enough? Yeah, and I'll tell you why. Because it's higher than the top part of the prison. Like if you were standing in here, you would be able to see onto the roof of the prison, which is great. And it'll and we'll have the same another one at the same height, probably on the other side. And then I think on the top of the prison, maybe in this corner, we actually have another watchtower. So we have two watchtowers not connected to the prison, but then one watchtower that's higher than all the others connected to the prison. I think that would be a really cool little design. So we'd have, oops, that down here, that one, and that one. Splash meat. This one. There we go. Okay, and then watchtower roof above it. We're starting to get some really cool features to the place now. Okay, I like that. Oh, and then the other one. Let's just put the other one at least placed down somewhere around here. Let's just draw out a line to about there, and then put down. I want to come out a little bit further, like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. And then I'll just put in a tower just so I know what it is, so I don't forget. Not that high. It doesn't matter if they're not the same height. In fact, I might have this one slightly taller than that one, and that one slightly taller than that one. So it's like shortest, medium, and tallest. That might be a really cool idea. And let's just put the circle on the top, or the square on the top. It's just so I remember what these actually are when I come back to it in a couple of days' time. Obviously, I don't record these back to back, so after 2 or 1 or 2 days, 3 days maybe, you do forget things that you've done, especially when you're playing a lot of other Minecraft on other worlds. Okay, how enough time? I can go for like a minute or two longer. Okay, so now we've got that. There's a couple of more. Well, there's one more building that I want to do, which is going to be just out the front here. When you run a prison, or any prison, pretty much has its own power. It runs off its own power, and it runs off its own water, because if there's a power cut in the area, it might just let all the prisoners out. They don't know, so they prefer to it might just be backup. They might have just backup power, a backup generator and backup water. So there's always, that's covering the door. There's always an onboard area for that. Let's take that down and extend it out this way a little bit. So this is going to be like a utility room almost. This is where it's just going to have a little mini generator in it and water. We might not even have the roller coaster going through it, but I just want it there. Having another building on the island will just generally improve the look of it anyway. Okay, now we've got that in, we need a prison yard. We need somewhere where the prisoners can get some fresh air. Now, on this side of the island, as you can see, we're pretty close to these emerald blocks that we placed down, saying that that's sort of the size of the island that we want to do. On this side of the island, it looks like we've got a little bit of room here. So, for now, I just want to use a block to mark out where we want this to be. But possibly a block that we will keep there anyway. Maybe just stone bricks on the bottom actually would be okay. So for the yard, I don't want to join it up to the wall. That's going to look boring. I want to do it at least 1 block in. I think I'm going to do it 2 blocks in, like this. Maybe not quite that far out, because I want a path going around the outside. Comes around this way. And maybe goes a little bit wider than the building. So maybe not there. I think there. I don't want it to join up to that watchtower. No, I don't want it there. I think I'm going to do it just down here. Like that. Okay, so there's a little yard. And then we're going to have a path that runs around the outside here. I'm thinking about a real prison, you see. So then we'd have a real a path that runs around the outside of the prison all the way around. Connects up all the watchtowers. You know, comes down here. We might have even have a path that runs around the outside. Probably not, actually. Just a path that goes down here. Joins up to the entrance. We'll have some sort of miniature dock here. And then we'd have obviously a fence surrounding the entire island, or, you know, on the entire island to keep everybody in. And I think that's pretty good. I think we've got off to a really good start for this here. I'm going to leave it there for this episode, though, guys. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button. If you have any ideas, put them in the comment section below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. And we shall see you in the next episode.